What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Eugene Hutton with Where the Wild Things Are, and it's time for one of my longer opinions, also an experience. Let me tell you guys, man, did I have a week? Did I have a couple of days? It's been such a blessing. All right, so let me tell y'all what happened. I had a baby. Oh, we had a baby. Okay, you're not gonna get any pictures or anything like that yet, and you're not gonna know too much. But let me tell you the situation. My wife is a G. Let me tell you. She went to work that morning. She went to work. I saw her a few hours later, and man, it was time to go. It was time to go. And we had already pre-packed the car. We made all our plans. We thought, except for our soon-to-be, thought it would be a good idea to come a week and a half early. So everything was fairly rushed, even though we were somewhat planned. And we're 135 miles away from our hospital. That seems irresponsible to some of y'all, but you don't live, sorry, you don't live like we do out here, all right? 135 miles seems like a long ways, and it is. But if you plan for it, it's not as bad as you think. Well, we planned for everything we could plan for. And and life happens sometimes. So around noon, few days ago, my wife was ready to go. We got to go. So we get in the car, and and your boy throws on the hazard lights, and it's a 135-mile sprint, and we're going to see how fast we can do it. Well, we get about 50 miles into the next biggest town. The time between things was getting a lot smaller, so we decided to pull into that emergency room. We pulled into that emergency room, and man, our situation was somewhat overwhelming for the room, for what it was set up. And so my wife had to be transported, and everything's okay. She's good, but that was the fastest way to get her to where she needed to go and make sure she could get the care she needed. All this is also a double entendre. This is also me telling an awesome story about a great experience in my life, but laying the foundation for the context of what this video is really about. So might sound like I'm bragging a little bit, but I'm going to get to my point. So wife is in the ambo. Me and somebody else are in my car. We try to follow behind, but this guy is Mario Andretti. He would have made Dale Earnhardt jealous. We just couldn't stick with him. All right, so they're gone. They're a long ways ahead of us. And I get a call before I even get there, and man, this person tells me that mama and baby are both doing fine. Man, he came. My baby was born in a bus. And it was an awesome experience, guys. And there were so many people in this 130 mile route that I will never know, probably, or see again. But there were so many people. There were so many links in this chain to getting this blessing to us safely that, for one, I'd like to give them a shout out, but I'm not gonna. I don't want to put anybody on blast. But for those that were involved, if you see this, thank you so much. So we get to the hospital, or I get to the hospital, obviously late. They're already there. I say they because he came in the ambulance. He was ready to hit the road. So I get there, we do what we got to do. And then decisions start having to be made. Like, there's some complications. Okay. Nothing too specific, nothing that wasn't taken care of by the professional staff and the medical practitioners that were there. Everything was good. But there was a time where my wife had to leave the room for a procedure, a surgery, and it was just me and my boy, and it was kind of lonely. It was a little bit lonely. I was really worried about her. She'd gone through a lot at that point, as I kind of told you, and that kind of brings me to the recap of how we got to the title that we're at. So I'm sitting in this room with my boy, worried about mama, looking around, and I'm thinking about everything that just happened, all the medications that had to be pushed, the decisions that had to be made, the financial worries that most people have, with some of the things that come with something like this. And I'm glad I'm glad I was there. I'm glad I was there to not be that guy. That's another part of my title. Don't be that guy. If your wife or somebody who depends on you is carrying your child is in this position, don't be that guy. So my wife was in a precarious situation. There was a lot of decisions that had to be made. Some of them could have been financially life altering or whatever, but who cares at that point, you know? But it had to be done. And listen, ladies, you guys know what it's like. She's going through a lot. She's going through a lot. She's not thinking clearly. There's medications, there's situations, there's a lot of people, it's strangers, it's embarrassing, it's exposing. It's a lot of stuff. And if you're going to be in this situation, it's helpful to be in the situation with somebody you can trust and somebody who knows you and knows what your best interests are. Because my wife was not in a position at that time, because of everything that was going on, understandably, to make those decisions for herself. So helped her out. I mean, helped her out. I mean, it was a decision that it affects both of us. It doesn't matter. But after she left, excuse me, I'm sitting there, cradling my boy, and felt pretty lonely and a little bit worried. And I thankfully had quite a bit of support. So I was able to reach out to a lot of people, and we got through it. She came through okay. It was very scary, probably more for me. No, probably more for her actually, but it was very scary. But I had a lot of support, guys. I had a lot of support, and she had a lot of support. Like, there was never a position where she was in this alone. And this is where we're going to come to the lonely mother. I'm sitting in this room and I'm looking around and I'm thinking about everything that just happened and all these decisions that had to be made and all these people we just met and everything that's coming at you at once, while so many things are happening inside your body as a woman at this point. And I can't help but wonder, because I've known these women, man, how much would it suck to be in there alone? No baby daddy, no husband, no partner, no family. Just the awesome staff that is surrounding you with love as best as they can and trying to give you what you need at a time when you don't know what you need. That's when you need somebody there. Don't be that guy. Don't let this happen to somebody in your life, because all I can envision is the girl that I put on the thumbnail with the baby there. She's overwhelmed. She's confused. She's in pain. And she's trying to make decisions the best she can, but it's like driving down the highway for 10 seconds with your eyes closed and then open them for 1 second and trying to remember what the sign said or where you're at. You can hit something and you need help. You need both eyes. Me and my wife, we live our lives a little bit differently than some, maybe. Maybe we live it pretty parallel to others, but we call it pulling the wagon together. If a wagon is pulled in two different directions, then everybody just gets muddy and pissed off. So we do the best to, it's not even separating duties or anything like that. It's more about what needs to be done, who's there to do it, and how much time do we got to get it done. And that just kind of determines on what happens in our life. We support each other professionally and personally and privately and every way we can. So that's how we live our lives. So for me and for us, the situation, it was very, very stressful, but not necessarily overwhelming, because we knew at the end of the day that we had a backstop. So as I'm looking around this room while my wife is gone, it's like some general hospital type stuff, like wrappers and tubes and just stuff on the floor. And I just can't imagine that young woman in probably the most vulnerable and confusing and painful situation of her entire life, at least up until that point, having to try to make those decisions by themselves. And the other thing is too, guys, like everybody has a different experience, but listen, ours was great. Our staff was awesome. They were awesome, and we could see it. and we were appreciative of it, and we're not discounting that at all. But whenever I saw the level of care that they had, it made me wonder, if you're a woman in this position by yourself and you have that awesome care, man, that might just be the best thing you could have at that point. But there's a lot of stuff that women go through during and after this point. Uh, there's PPD, there's a lot of hormone fluctuations and shifts. There's physical changes, absolute immediate physical changes, and sometimes life altering physical changes. And then the mental aspect can go any way you want it to. So if you're receiving this loving care from all these awesome people at a time when you're so vulnerable, so confused, and so needing what they're giving, that's awesome. Get it. I hope you have the experience we did. But if you're that girl and you had to go home, or maybe not home, or maybe you just had to leave that building in 24, 48 hours, whatever it was, with your little bundle of joy that you're so happy to have, but that's all you got, and you're not going back to anything else. The best thing that you've experienced to that point was the staff. That's not fair, guys. That's not fair. As mothers, as fathers, as families, as people, that's not fair. If a man was in that situation, y'all know it'd be different. Well, it might not be, but it probably would. Because you guys go through a lot of stuff, and I see it. I've seen it. I'm 17 years in my marriage. My credit is good, okay? I've seen it. Don't be that guy, guys. And families out there, don't ever let your loved one go into a situation like this alone. It's a blessing. It really is. Like, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. He's beautiful. He's beautiful. I'm so happy. I am. We all are. Everybody's taken care of. There's just too many people that aren't. And it's such a life-altering time of your life. It's such a memorable part of your life. You should be there. You should be present. I'm talking to you, boys. I'm talking to you, boys. Because if you're not there, that's what you are. You're a boy. Because you need to man up and be a dad, not a father. That's nothing against people who call themselves father, but y'all know what I mean. It takes a man to be a dad. You got to be there. You got to be awake with her. You got to pick up the baby. You got to do the diaper. You got to do everything. You know why? Because that's your baby. He needs you too. He needs me. He needs us. They need us. So maybe at the end of this, I would just encourage us, just draw together, y'all. Just draw together. Like, you don't have to have such a small circle. It's easy to get anonymous in this world now. Like, we all drive around in traffic. We're all pissed off, and we all think that our situation is more important than the next. But we all move out of the way for the ambulance, because at the end of the day, we get it. For one, it's illegal to not move. And two, if they're coming in hot, it's a human thing. And we're all humans. We're all humans. We all get here the same way. Somebody's mama. Somebody went through the stuff that me and my wife experienced. Some of the situations were good. Some of the situations were less than ideal. Some of the situations were straight up bad. But just don't let them be alone, guys. Like, I mean, guys is not just guys this time, but like, man, if there's a person in your life that is going through a situation where, like, they're about to have a kid or a serious medical procedure, like, this is a scary place. Hospitals are beautiful for the most part. They're clean. They do the best they can, but they are scary places because you don't have any control, and nothing about the medical procedures is usually comfortable, and it can't be. It can't be physically, physiologically, psychologically. Like, it's a whole different thing. Like, you got to have somebody there to help you through the pain, to help you through the questions, the paperwork, to help you get some sleep, whatever it is. Guys, don't let this person in your life be alone. It's a temporary time for women. I mean, not a temporary time, but it is an extremely confusing, hormonal, emotional, and literally physically altering, painful, something a man can't deal with time for a woman. But it's temporary. Listen, guys, like you have to be there good and bad, night and day, sickness and health. If she's crazy and throwing stuff at the doctors that day, you know what? You would be too. Actually, we'd probably be worse. But mamas are so strong. Mamas are so strong. You should see her today. She can be a different person tomorrow. She can only be better. Like it's a temporary thing. If you can't swallow it, do what you got to do. Go to Panda Express and Starbucks if they're on the opposite sides of the town, whatever. You didn't do nothing like she just did. Be a man. Get there. Be there for your baby. Be there for your mama. Be there for your wife, your girlfriend, whatever it is. If you decided to make that life-altering, lifelong choice of responsibility that is an all-encompassing life of a child in your care, then you should be there start to finish. Start to finish. Don't let anybody be alone in this position, guys. It was terribly sad to think about. I couldn't imagine. I just couldn't imagine. I mean, I can imagine. Actually, I know a lot of these people. But in my own situation where I saw how blessed I was to have what was needed and to see that she had what was needed, it was hard not to think about those that didn't get it. Or even worse, as bad as it sounds, that those people, that staff, was the best treatment that they're going to get. And that's not fair. That is not fair. So be there for your people. Remember their people. Remember you're a people. You're a person. You're just like them. Maybe a little louder, maybe a little stinkier, maybe something. But we all get here the same way. So support your family. Please, guys, support your family. Your circle doesn't have to be big, but it does have to be tight. Thank you guys for staying tuned this long. I'm so happy. Again, I have to reaffirm my blessing. Me and my wife are so blessed. We're so happy. Our family is more than thrilled to have this awesome bundle of joy come into our lives. So, thank you guys for staying with us this long. Thank you so much. Thank you for dealing with me. I'm a little emotional today too. Still tired. I'm not crying. I'm doing pretty good. It's okay to cry too. I cried a lot in the last couple of days because my boy's beautiful. So thank you for staying with us. My name is Eugene Hutton. Support your family. Tighten your circle. Make sure that you know that everybody else is, in fact, just like you. And just be kind. And remember to stay where the wild things are.